Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton Geoffrey here this week. Adam Ross is away on assignment on his day job. He's actually in Vegas this week, so I don't know whether I hope he's winning millions or losing his shirt. Either way, Adam's away on business, so you get me tonight. I'm a little bit under the weather myself, so I'll try not to bring you all down with me, but we're getting so close to the race season, we had to keep things moving along. We have lots to talk about. We have a lot of topics to go over tonight. We're going to invite Joe Skotnicki, Ryan Beagle, and Glenn Styers on tonight to talk to us. So there will be no fights tonight. I hope not with any of the guests, but Adam and I will not be getting into it. So we'll have one Christmas as the viewers on things here to say. Let's start things off with a bit of viewer participation. How about let's talk about what's your racetrack pet peeve? Anything could be bad service, a poorly run program, divisions you don't love. Let's not try and beat up on any particular tracks, or let's not get too specific here and hurt anybody's feelings. But just, as a promoter, I'm going to use tonight to try and figure out how we can make sure we're hitting all the points every week at Ush Week. And Glenn Styers is coming on tonight, so it's not too often any of us get to interview their boss. But I'm going to have some fun with Glenn tonight. He happened to call me this afternoon. I said, "What are you doing? We'd love to have you on." So he's going to come on and talk to us. Let's kick things off the roll call, though. If you're here in the messages, let us know where you're watching from. It's great to see Randy from Texas every week, and I know a lot of you folks are around here with us, but let us know where you're watching from. Let's spread the gospel far and wide as we can get this thing going. And it's great. I know Adam and I were talking post-show last week. It'd be great if, a guy like Randy comes up and gets to meet some of the folks they're communicating with here. It's always great when racing can bring people together like that. The other question I had is, what track did you miss? For me, it was Speedway Park. I grew up hearing my dad talk about Speedway Park. I never got to go to it. I've heard about Bismarck Speedway too, which was another dirt track between pretty much where Speedway Park would be and Merrittville is now. So for me, Speedway Park would be the one track I didn't get to go to, but I heard great stuff about. So feel free to chime in there and let us know what's the one track you never got to go to. CNE was another one, in Pinecrest are the two I hear a lot about that I never got to actually go see. Joe's just about to jump on with us now, but I don't know whether I need to save my AI fun for now or later, but let's get Joe on. We won't waste any more of his time. Joe Skotnicki will join us now. Joe runs the Race of Champions series. And it's not Adam Ross. We'll have to change that up on the title, Spencer. But, Joe, thanks for joining us here tonight. Can you hear me?
Best Adam's ever looked. Let's go with that.
Oh, I thought my headphones weren't working there for a minute. Joe, I got you. Joe, again, we joke on this program through my day job running the Speedway. I talked to a lot of racers, racing people. You were helping me out, work out some safety light issues we have at the Speedway yesterday. And I said, hey, come on and help me this week. I was thinking about today where I know you from, Joe, so many different aspects over the years. I know you from, I first met you when you were running the Dirt Series, the Super Dirt Car Series, the Big Block Modified Tour in Syracuse. I want to bring up some memories of that. You were also a NASCAR employee. Then you broke out onto the Race of Champions, picked up that series, and now run series mainly for the pavement modifieds. Would that be the safest thing to say your main business is? And then you still dabble in the dirt modified sportsman series as well.
Yeah, so the series has kind of become our seasonal business. And we have two, because we still have the Racing Promotion Monthly newsletter and workshop. The newsletter is 12 months a year. The workshops we do twice in Reno and Daytona, and those have become pretty big and time consuming. And then obviously the series has grown. We have 7 divisions on asphalt, the dirt sportsman division, and we run 8 divisions, 34 nights, I think, this year. So we try to stay busy and keep some of us out of trouble and get some of us into trouble other ways. So we're always looking to grow. I've kind of always thought if you're not growing, you're dying. So we just keep pushing.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. I'm thinking, how can you and Zach, 'cause your son runs a lot of the stuff with you, absolute pleasure to work with. I got to work with Zach the last day up Humberstone. Zach and I took on the world in the eve of destruction, and man, I had to send you that message, and it meant a lot for me to send you that message. Say, hey, your kid is amazing. I've got a couple of messages about my daughter Kenzie when she worked with, doing timing score. It's great to bring your kids up in racing. Let's touch on that a bit, Joe. It's cool that we can keep our kids, and we always joke that families that race together stay together. I also like to say, I know where my kids are on the weekend. They're not out doing drugs or getting in shit. They're hanging out with us, family, and learning a trade. How's it to be working with your family?
He's a unique individual. And when it's time to get it done, he has that ability to get it done. Um, he graduated last year from college, and I was a little worried we might lose him to the real world. And he's interviewed a couple times, and he's got a graphic design degree. He's super talented in that aspect, does all of our graphics and stuff. But the family aspect is just incredible. I've been fortunate to be surrounded by people that do that sort of thing, the Deary family and some others. And I I I wouldn't do it if it wasn't with him or for him. I would have been done a long time ago. Going back to after I left NASCAR, I was with Dirt Car. I still did some spotting for Ryan Preece, and I remember we won the year Ryan won the championship in the Flamingo car, and I I was pretty happy at that point with, I didn't need to spot any more races or anything like that. And Zach Zach was like, "Come on, one more year," and here we are. That was I think 2013 or 14, something like that. So 10 years later, we're still digging, still going and recreating ourselves all the time. So it's a lot of fun with him. He keeps me on my toes.
Joe, let's have a bit of fun with you. We ask our viewers for a bit of participation here. What track did you miss going to? And I don't mean one that you missed that's no longer here. What track came and went before your time, or track that you never got to go to that you heard great stories about?
Saugus Speedway in California. Never saw a race there, and I've heard plenty of Schrader stories, a couple around Hornaday stories. It's a little flat 3rd mile fairgrounds, and they did a market there for a number of years, and they're finally getting rid of it, and it's just kind of a sad deal. I mean, um, there it made those West Coast heroes and all that stuff. There's not too many tracks I haven't been to in the Northeast, but yeah, Saugus right off the top of the list for sure. I saw races at Mesa Marin and at Irwindale and all those places out west, Tucson, but I never got to see an actual race at Saugus. So that one's always at the top of my list that, just grinds on me that I never got to see racing in person.
You touched two tracks that are close to kind of, I want to say this group or this viewership, right? Mostly the Southern Ontario, Northeast. We got the odd Stephen Petty or the, Steve Ovens. Those guys will chime in now and then, but for the most part, it's the Ontario deal. But for me, back to that, I'm pissed my kids are never going to get to see the mile. And Jacasa, you worked those big races, the Super Nationals with Alex. So I want to touch on those a little bit as we get to it. But I just want to jump back to Syracuse for a minute. I was thinking about you today, and I think it was the second time Stuart Friesen won the race, and it was the fuel cell gate where they were blowing the fuel cells up with air, I think, and maybe you can tell the story better. But we were in the media with Dirt Track Digest, and they had an infield building, and that's also where the pit office was. So after TAC pulls these, I mean, looking back as a promoter, you must be pulling your hair out because, for one, they pulled all these cars down in front of everybody, and we're all looking. We got cameras, and they setting them on the ground, and this thing's wobbling. It's supposed to be square, but it's a 25 or whatever the gallon fuel cell was. Anyways, the point of the story is you take Stuart into the pit office, and you have to tell him something. And we're all out there like glass to the door, and we hear shit going on. There was something being thrown. What went on behind that closed door? And take us into those 10 minutes so that, oh shit, this is
I
going to
can
be a
I can
crappy conversation.
I can finally say, Tom. I think Tom was in there with me, Tom Deary. And Tom and my relationship, how it stood the test of time is I will never be able to understand it, but I'm very thankful it has. But I need to start before that. So Vic Coffey was losing his absolute ever-loving mind. And I had a friend there that kind of went to a lot of races, and he still does. And not everybody knows who he is, and I'm not gonna reveal him, but he's with a local motorcycle group from Western New York, and he's kind of friends with a lot of them. So he took Vic on the side because Vic was losing his mind. So we end up in that inner room, finally get Vic and that chaos settled, and we bring Stewart in, and it was me, Tom. I think Scott Jeffries was in there because if I remember correctly, Decker was second. If I don't remember exactly. And Bob Denny and that group, God bless them, they did a great job. They had a rule that was the rule at the time, and obviously the next year we changed it, and I made a lot of noses get out of joint because of how we changed it, but it really captured the gallon issue. But when we told Stewart and I'd talked Tom into saying, the kid made an effort. Let's not just hang him. Um, he's good for the sport. He's good for all this. And realistically, it was looking at a bigger picture than just, that hanging noose of throwing someone out. So we took half the money and the points and all that stuff. And Scott Jeffrey said something about, I've been there, man. I know how it is. And Stewart picked up a chair. And everybody, like you guys, Mallet, yourself, Denny Moquin that worked for us, and several others thought that it was me. But Stewart beat the ever-loving crap out of the walls with a metal chair that was off of a rack in the room. And I'm not sure if Dirk Carver had to pay for the chair or not, but there wasn't much left of it. That's really what happened.
But we're talking about 25,000 US at the time, right? That you
It
ding
was
for half the money.
we took 25 US right there on the spot. And Stewart
I
said,
just
"Write
think
me."
about the times that I've known you. Yeah, go ahead, finish that.
No, he says, "Write me a check right now," and we did, and that kind of evacuated the situation and got us through it. But it was intense.
It was one of those kind of gray areas in the rules, right? And that's one thing, like, like you were kind of getting away with it. And if I can explain it in announcer or layman's terms, they were taking the plastic fuel cells, and just like we've heard stories of laying like a tire in the sun and pouring the water on it, they were inflating them, and it was increasing the capacity of these fuel cells. So it
Yeah,
was technically like the right amount of gallons from the manufacturer, but it
when
was
they
inflating.
when they purchased the can, so they had a can, a thin can on the exterior, and then the bladder inside of that can, they would inflate it. Um, and that wasn't uncommon anywhere in motorsports. That trickled down from the cup because it was, you had those fuel mileage races back in the day and that's what Syracuse always ended up being anyway. So, they just took that technology, which wasn't really technology. It was just make that rubber bladder bigger inside of the can and and it would carry a few more gallons. And what we did the next year was build a 1 inch rack around it so you couldn't inflate it. And if you tried to inflate it, it wouldn't help you that much. You might be able to get a half gallon, but you weren't getting two or three.
And we
So
explain every year, like, we've got these rule packages, right? And you're in the same boat. There's always a way these racers are going to squeeze in. We've always got to make adjustments. Hey, we play a smart game of chess with really smart players on the other side sometimes. Let
yeah,
me switch. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say those guys, like, at that level, those guys are really sharp and they know what they're doing. And then you get to that lower level where they think they're smarter than what we are just because we're quote unquote dumb promoters, and they don't know the story of the past that we've been through. So there's a lot of educational pieces along the way.
I got a couple things for you, Joe. What are the big thing? One of our viewer participation questions tonight is, what's your racetrack pet peeve? You run these racer promoter sessions, as you mentioned, Reno and Florida twice a year. What are maybe some of the things you're hearing from the promoters that, you know, uh, that they're hearing from their people that people aren't liking, or what do you think is maybe one of the big things us short tracks are missing?
Um, I think it's always cyclical. Everybody's jazzed up on streaming. And streaming's a critical element to promoting the sport. I think we all get wrapped up in it being a television show too much, including our series. I mean, we're somewhat guilty of it. The beauty of the sport has always been that it's a sport we can televise, not a made-for-television show. Um, so there's some of that going on, and we see it with some of the rival series that are going back and forth, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, Clint. And I don't need to elaborate there. I also think time of show is becoming a big deal because the and we hear this a lot that the attention span of individuals is continually getting shorter because of how our society works. It's instant gratification. It's pick up your phone or device and it's right there. So we don't have them for, the old show used to be if you could start at 7 and be done by 11. Well, I went to Port Royal. Steve O'Neill won the Promoter of the Year this year, and I went down to visit him at his weekly opener. They ran two shows. They had two weather delays, several red flags, and they started at 4 and were still done before 7. And that's what weather delays. That show would have taken an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. They had 34 sprint cars, 26, 28 super late models. And we all need to start taking notes on that because we don't have them their attention span for that long anymore, no matter where we're at in the business. And um, the way the economy is rolling today and everything else, we're really going to have to work hard to maintain those partnerships that we have that are existing, or the new ones that are coming in, and really put our arms around them, embrace them, and make sure they know how important they are to the sport, because I think that world's going to change a little bit as we keep rolling forward into whatever abyss we're heading into.
You know, I always wonder what we can do better at Osh Weekend, and I think we're kind of in that vortex where we have four very strong, healthy divisions. So it's very tough, in our opinion, I think, to set one of them down. But we are still in that race for seconds to be done by start at 7:30, done by 10:30 is a rocking show for us.
You guys, you
It's
guys,
just
you
tough.
guys, you guys do a good job with it. Everything that and I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt, but you're pushing the cars from the pits onto the track running. Whenever there's a change in race, the cars roll out and they're running. So it's not you're not as guilty of it as others are. And your divisions there, you're not cycling in 6 or 7 classes. It's four classes every week. The 360s, the crate sprints, the thunder stocks, and your minis. So it's not everybody knows what they're going to get at a Schweeken. It's some of the other folks that still believe it's 1977 and they have a 8 division show that starts at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon and you're still there at 11. That's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
that's not maintaining or growing the fan base.
I have never been to Outlaw, but I'm in no hurry to go there just by what I see on the car. Like it's crazy. Okay, quickly before I let you go, because you got Big Dog Ryan Beagle on the line. Um, Tell us about Race of Champions. Tell us about where you're racing next and where some of these viewers can get on board with what you got going on.
Yeah, we're all of our events are live on Racing America. I think all 33 or 34. Our next event, we were supposed to start this weekend at Lake Erie, but a little bit of snow, a little bit of cold, kind of defeated us there. But we'll get going next Saturday at Mahoning Valley Speedway, a tight little quarter mile in Laheyton, Pennsylvania. It's old school. It's an old school place, but it's so cool. three wide racing all around the place for tour modifieds, and it's an excellent show. Then things switch back up here, and we have an earlier date with you guys at Ashweekend, and we just made a deal. We're going to be our next two dirt sportsman races will be at Apple Fest, and we're looking forward to working with the Rinaldis on that in the fall. And visit rocmodifiedseries.com, click on the schedule. We've got a race every weekend once we hit the second week of May until we shut off October 11th at Thompson. And it's just a packed schedule, and we're looking forward to it.
Thanks for your time, Joe. I appreciate the friendship, the advice all the time. I know when I hit you up yesterday, I started the conversation. I need some advice. You said, "Oh, Jesus." I appreciate it. We're looking forward to having Race of Champions there. And a quick mention about Racing America. Obviously, we're there with the APC Late Model Series, so another great reason for our viewers to get on board the Racing America train. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. And just let you know, the other item we talked about, the lights, Joe mentioned me today. We're got that in the works, so thank you very much.
No problem, man. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. And thanks always for the friendship, Clinton. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Joe. May 9th, the Race of Champions Sportsmen kick off the season at Ashweekend opening night. Always appreciate Joe. Big dog Ryan Beagle is standing by. We'll get him on the go as soon as he's ready. Made it through so far, Spencer. Been a good 22 minutes. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I've been trying to get you for a couple weeks now. I figured I could steal when Adam wasn't around. Let's talk about your upcoming season. You've been the, not the rabbit they're chasing, but the dog the rabbits have been chasing. You've been on fire lately. Let's talk about your off-season program. Racers are always trying to improve. They're trying to improve to catch you. What are you doing with your program to try and get better to stay ahead of the pack?
To be honest, we haven't really done a lot this winter. Just a lot of maintenance and trying to improve some stuff that if we get in a wreck, it doesn't take as much to fix during the week. So other than that, I don't know, the way we've been running, it's hard to want to change anything until somebody shows you that you got to do something.
You've had a lot of these competitors come and go. We've seen it happen with a lot of. I always talk about the sprint cars in the 360s at Ashweekend, where you have a year where Westbrook's on top, then Ryan Turner's on top, then Bowman's on top. Westbrook absolutely crushes it again. How do you stay on top of that wave if you're not changing anything? Is maintenance going to do that for you?
I don't know. To be honest, I've never been in this situation before, so just kind of play it as it goes. And like I said before, we'll cross that when it comes. Like I said, it's hard to want to change anything when it's been working.
You're going to race outside Ashweekend much this year. I mean, Humberstone's gone away. We're going to talk quickly about the duel on the dirt in a minute. Where will race fans see you other than Ashweekend?
We'll probably go to Merrittville a couple times. We like going to the Holiday Monday shows down there. I want to make it to Buxton a couple times. Just check it out with the new owners. We never made it there last year. We'll see what we got left at the end of the year. I imagine we'll try to do on it again. I kind of like how all the races are after points are done at all the tracks now. Well, Ashweekend anyway. So we'll probably end up in the duel on this year.
Yeah, Spencer, can you bring that schedule up if you got it? The Duel on Dirt, we announced it yesterday. The website's been updated, duelonthedirt.com. And as you mentioned, the combined races are all pretty much after. Ashweekend, we have it as part of the Nationals weekend. Buxton, their points are still going on, but pretty much Brighton and Merrittville are done. I kind of like that format. Want to thank APC to come back. How cool is that? You still going to have APC with you again this year?
Yeah, we've been. Well, we deal with APC every day, and they help us out with the race car too. And it's cool to see them jump on board. They're good company to deal with. We got no complaints working with them here at the shop. So I'm glad to see them supporting what we do a little bit.
Merrittville's been tough. for these guys lately, it's slick all the time. Is you find a big difference between how your car handles between the two tracks? Are you making major adjustments between a Friday and Saturday when you're doing those runs?
Mostly just gear change. That's about it, really. Even anymore, the way Maryville's been, I don't even think we'd have to change gear. My car's a little tighter at Maryville, just because it's the corners are tight. But yeah, I don't change a lot. We don't go there enough to change a whole bunch. But yeah, we should work on it a little bit if we're going to run the duel on the dirt.
Other than Bailey, who gives you the toughest time out there? Who's the one that you got to race the hardest?
There's a ton of cars that Trent's good, Kyle's good. Logie's not coming back. He was always tough to run with. I could go for 5 minutes here, like Pete Reed, Ramsey.
That's fair.
French. Yeah, there's a lot of good cars in this division. It's pretty good to run with all these guys.
Now, we've had guys on here before, like Jim Lamb, said he has no desire to move up. Bailey's quite happy. Do you have a desire to do anything beyond this? Where would you like to go after, Thunderstocks, if anywhere?
I don't know. It's hard because I got everything. Like we got in this a bunch of years ago, and I got enough parts for years. And if it's just the money factor, like you move up to a sprint car, I'm kind of too big for a crate sprint car, so that's kind of out of the question. You got modifieds at Merrittville, but then I kind of like to travel to Oswego. I don't know. I'm having fun where we're at, and the payouts are where we're running are helping. So I think we'll stay here for as long as we can.
One last one. Biggest fan, Chris Dickey, wants me to ask you how your chicken wing program's going.
We've been slacking on the wings lately. I purchased a pellet smoker, so we've been smoking various meats and dips lately. So chicken wings have been on the back burner.
Chicken wings are on the fryer upstairs. That's what I've had too. Thanks, Big Doc, for stopping by. Ryan here starts his title defense May 9th at Oswego Speedway. Appreciate your time, Ryan.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Ryan Beagle drives the 84 RK Machine champion and Thunderstock driver at Oswego. Always good to have him on board. I know Adam's mad he didn't get to join in the conversation. Just about ready to jump in with Glenn Styers. I don't know if he's staying in his truck for the whole time or not. I'm a bit under the weather, as you guys know. So much other stuff we still want to talk about. All right, I'm ready for Glenn if you're ready, Spencer. Glenn, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
You're not at home yet? Are you going home? Do you want me to come back in a few minutes, or are you on a long drive?
I'm on my way home. I'm just on 54, so I'm about 10 minutes from home.
It's all right. We can talk now. Glenn, just want to talk about, how things been going for you. You've done a lot of racing already. Again, we were talking earlier tonight. We want to talk about, what's the biggest race you're excited for coming up this spring?
I'm definitely the World of Outlaws. Hopefully get my 8840 car ready. Tried the 360, but the front end's pretty light with a 410. So that would be my biggest race, I would say.
Let's talk about rumors, okay? And we're just going to have some fun here. So I always hear about the craziest rumors. People call me all the time. Do you hear Glenn's doing this? Do you hear Glenn's doing that? What's the craziest rumor you heard about yourself?
The craziest rumor that I've heard about myself?
Yeah.
Man, we got anything? I can't really think of anything offhand.
All right, I stumped you.
Yeah, well, a lot of times you hear I'm going to buy another racetrack or something, but
yeah, that's probably the biggest one I hear, that you bought Jukasa or that you're saving Humberstone, or you bought Donnie out at Merrittville.
Yeah.
That's a rumor that you've kind of been perpetuating, though, a pavement track down the line. Is that one of the future dreams here?
Yeah, I would like to duplicate a Schwingen Speedway in asphalt. You got to remember when I first started building a Schwingen Speedway, my whole goal was an asphalt track, and I bought a lot of land over the last few years, so I kind of got my sights set on the spot. And you know what? I really trying to decide, should I build a go-kart track, something that we can all run and race and enjoy all winter long if I built an indoor facility, or do I build a big racetrack that's gonna eat up cars and you race 20 times a year? Doesn't seem like a very smart idea, but I would say an enclosed go-kart track. I've never seen any oval go-kart tracks like asphalt. Um, but I would think something like that would be great to keep everybody in shape for during the winter months. Like the guys in Florida, they run all year, and it's just really, really an unfair advantage.
I get pushed a lot, at least a couple times a year. Even Jeff Smith, who runs our go-kart program, says, I got to get you down. They're doing free span buildings. He's like, we can cover this whole micro sprint track, but then we're gonna have to cover the whole pits because everybody's gonna have to park outside.
Yeah,
Let's talk about economics, Glenn. So I got in talking with a race driver yesterday, and they were talking about, they questioned me about where all the income from the speedway goes, right? And that's a lot to do with all the new signage and all the sales. And I explained to them, even with all of that, you're still losing. And I got talking with you today, how much money do you think you've invested in the speedway since you started? I'm thinking an easy 3 to 5 mil.
I would love to add it up and give you a number, but I don't really want to know that number. It's probably really, really ridiculously high. But what I want to do is I want to give the best experience for the racers, and shock and awe when they get there. I want them to leave knowing that we've done the best that we can for what we have, and I'm hoping that they brag about us, because I just give it all. Like everything that we can do, I do. And if there's anything extra I can do, we'll do it. I say, but the biggest thing, forget about the money. The most important part that me and you put into this is our time. Like I'm on a track daylight till dark, and it's been like that since I built it. And all of the struggles, like tractors breaking down, water trucks breaking down, graders breaking down, having to borrow this and borrow that. Nobody really sees that part because you know what? We don't whine about it. We don't cry about it. We just get it done. And even the electrical, the lights, I had to get that donated. And the fella that put them up, Tom Kovac Electric, he just says, if you ever make enough money, pay me. If you don't, then you don't. And I'm gonna bet you it took me 10 years to pay for the lighting. And then my brother Kurt come along and put up the Moscow lighting. That was 300,000 or 400,000, I can't remember. And then the hydro, we ran out of hydro, and just bringing in hydro was 1.5. So to provide the lighting and the stuff that we do, I would be afraid to tally that up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, one thing that people see when they come to our place and your place and our place, I guess we can say, is that, there's always new effort to make improvements, to make it better. And that was kind of the talk we had when we discussed about bringing the Outlaws when it first came up in November, is we have to remember your driveway wasn't even paved the last time they were here. The VIP building wasn't there. The go-kart building wasn't there. The new tractor barn across the back wasn't there. The pits weren't paved. There's so many different things. Your pool house and new house wasn't even there. So for those drivers like David Gravel and some of the veterans when they come back, Donnie Schatz, they're going to have a holy crap moment when they drive down that driveway for the first time. And I think that is going to get us a better date if we can, because like you said, they're going to be petitioning their guys saying we got to give them a better date in the summer because they deserve it up here. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to with the Outlaws? Obviously, we're stressed about everything early in the year, parking, all those problems that come with it, but it's still a very exciting time.
Well, you know what? It's been dry and windy the last few days. The facility's right bone dry. If you've seen it a few days ago, it was so wet we were underwater, but it's dried right out now. We're gonna get on it tomorrow with the road grader, and we're gonna rip it up and pack it and grade it. If we get on it now and get a nice firm base, like it's only a couple weeks away. Like I was talking to Zig today, we got to get on it. We can't wait for the perfect day. We got to do it now.
Yeah. When you talk about that, Oshweekend kind of has a reputation for having that wet spring. But when we talked to you right before you went to China at Christmas, the last call I remember having with you before you left was, can we have an extra date and run things a couple weeks earlier? And your response was yes, because so much has changed just with the pit parking, the concrete, all the drainage. It's a different place now in the spring, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I've always worried about, and one of the things that I've always wanted to do, is put infield laneways in, because that's where our safety crew parks. That's where our tow trucks park, and if it's underwater, the guys are going to be on the outskirts, which is just going to make it a little bit more difficult for our rescue team to get out there. And you know what, Clint, I've always been worried about that. And that's probably one of the next things that I'm going to do is get that infield done.
I can't wait. And that's the other thing people say, well, why isn't the infield done? If you go back and look at old DVDs, you had the nicest infield grass of anybody for like the first decade. But it's the constant influx of new drainage, new electrical that got it all tore up. It doesn't make any sense to invest in it until you've got all that infrastructure in place. Like even this year, water pumping station in the infield should be ready to roll. So that's another big improvement. You want to take the water truck up and down. You know what my fantasy for the infield is? I want a pit road where the 360s can have their 2-minute work area in front of the fans down in front. That's what we got to get going.
Yeah, I would love that too. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. It wouldn't hold up the show. People would see what's going on, but yeah.
What's your next race? I know you got 410s coming up in Anderson on the pavement. You got Maryville's opening soon. NASCAR's kicking off. Our opener, World of Outlaws. Man.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm on pause. I'm buying my daughter a house. So it kind of took all of the fun money that I had planned for these races and kind of focusing on the family right now. So I'll probably just do sprint car racing for now because all the asphalt stuff is so expensive. It's really, really costly to do that part. So, a dirt race, really, really easy and flexible to do,
So does that mean you're going to be at the CTMP opener with NASCAR or not?
Yeah, I'll be there. Definitely. I'll do all the NASCAR stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about the big shows in Florida and Nashville and all those other spots, Indiana. I was planning on doing it, and I was going to be pretty busy, but I just decided to just pause and then do it when it's, right. Right now we're still building the Outlaw late model, the Super, and the Pro late model. That's getting built, and I'm still building another oval car for the Pinty's race. So I still have a lot of work that's very, very costly. So I think taking a little break or a little pause or just hesitating a bit, until I'm ready.
I just want to talk one last thing about your race teams here. I've seen a bit of a shift in. There was a time when you were buying all these cars and bringing them in-house. Now I see you basically relying on the experts in each of these, let's call it, fields. So when you drive the Schrader car, their crew's setting it up because they're pros at that. When you're driving your Florida late model, they're bringing that in from Wisconsin and they're setting it up. Talk about the change in attitude that way a little bit.
Well, so for example, I ran down with Joe Nemechek, and he's in his NASCAR and running down and testing and doing stuff with Fury, and Ryan Stone with the Tour Pro Modified. These guys are championship teams, and I don't have the experience, nor have I done the laps to be able to, compete. So I wanna go out, and I don't want to be a pylon out there. I want to be able to pass cars, keep up with the pack. I don't want to be 5 seconds off the pace. You know what I mean? So I have to do it that way.
Well, right on. We'll let you get home. I can see the blue lights behind you. Thanks for your time, Glenn. It's always great to talk to you. And I know everybody appreciates your efforts giving us the best place to race.
Heck yeah. Just the beginning.
Good night, boss. Good night, Chantel.
That's it.
See you guys. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Always good when you can get the boss on the line. Let's switch it up. Let's have some fun. Today I went on ChatGPT and asked it for some ways for me to roast Adam Ross today. So I said, ChatGPT, give me some funny insults that I can throw at NASCAR Canada announcer Adam Ross. ChatGPT says, absolutely. Here's some good-natured roast-style jabs you can toss Adam Ross's way, especially if he's got a good sense of humor. Here we go. Let's have some fun. Adam Ross talks so much, even his GPS interrupts him to say, you done yet? Oh, man. Number 2, if useless facts were horsepower, Adam's mouth would be leading the point standings. Oh, these are so freaking good. They say camera adds 10 pounds. In Adam's case, it just gives up and goes to commercial. Spencer, I know he's laughing his ass off from it. Adam's race calls are so dramatic. I checked 3 times to see if I was watching NASCAR or Young and the Restless. That was not so good. He's got a face for radio and a voice for silent films. I love that one. And by the way, I had to send these to Greg Callan as soon as they came up. Keep going. We got 5 more. If enthusiasm were talent, Adam Ross would be still Adam Ross. Adam's idea pit strategy is stopping at Tim Hortons mid-race. Now that's one Greg's going to jump on. He's the only announcer I know who can talk for 3 hours and still say nothing. Oh, if I got to get that on a t-shirt. Adam once tried to moonlight as a race car driver. Turns out the pace car lapped him twice. He actually did race. And his fashion sense screams midlife crisis at a swap meet. Thank you, ChatGPT, for the burns on my partner Adam, who can't be here to defend himself today. But it's always good. Whew. Spencer, I'm making it. I didn't think I'd make it. I only had to mute cough 3 times, so we're getting through it. How about this 8 versus 8, Junior versus Lamar? This was a neat, a kind of a weird thing that came out. Spencer, do you have the long post? I sent it, the third one I sent in, kind of after the fact, because I missed it the first time. It just explains how so this is Lamar Jackson basically suing Dale Jr., saying the 8 couldn't be used. So Dale Jr. puts an end to Lamar Jackson's short-lived legal battle as he confirms the number 8's fate. NASCAR icon Dale Earnhardt Jr. will swiftly resolve the budding legal dispute with NFL star Lamar Jackson over the trademark rights to the number 8. Basically, they were fighting over the style of the font used in the number 8. Spencer, do you have the picture of Junior and Lamar, where Junior is actually racing and Lamar's good? This is obviously a meme, but this is pretty much what they're saying. So they're fighting over this number 8, the Budweiser styled number 8. Lamar Jackson sued Junior and said he couldn't use it. Junior went to his other style for Junior Motorsports, and finally they came to the agreement that Junior could use this number 8, which he had for years. It's crazy they get into this battle. What else did I sent something else through Spencer too? I think it was the Junior tweet or the Junior Motorsports. It's the black background, I think it was. Anyways, Junior put out a tweet on the weekend, and yeah, here it is. Through the U.S. Patent Office, we successfully secured the rights to the stylized 8. Therefore, we will be moving away from the original Junior Motorsports 8 we have used since 2019. We are looking forward to the remainder of an already successful season. So I think the 8 that they're using with Junior Motorsports, Lamar Jackson was saying he had rights to it. Now, I don't know, back me up here, viewers, but how do you get to trademark a number? A number 8. Like, I can see if it's a whole design, but how do you get to say that font for the rest of time belongs to me? To me, it doesn't make much sense. Um, I certainly, and I don't think many other race fans are looking at the number 8 and saying, "Oh man, Junior's running Lamar Jackson's number out there. That's crazy." I just thought it was crazy. I started a bit of a war. We're going to skip the topic here, Spencer. I'll come back to racing is under attack. I started a war on the Mosport Now and Then Facebook page. So if you've never been to CTMP, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, which for younger viewers used to be called Mosport, it on their Facebook page, I posted something. Can you roll it up, Spencer? And it said, I asked a question. There's an infield versus an outfield rivalry here. So if you're either camping on the infield of the road course or the outfield. So I posted this on the weekend. Can anyone shed light on when the infield versus outfield rivalry began? Camped a few of the NASCAR weekends and we had a blast. So they started rolling in. And so they actually have a keychain in the shape of Mosport that says infield sucks. So this is obviously an outfield camper. They have all kinds of signs and other dancing car lot stuff. Show some of that, Spencer. And this is a whole rivalry. So these guys have this on the outfield campground, pointed at the infield, taunting them across the track. It's quite a bit of chaos. This is obviously an infield camper throwing stuff back and forth. I thought it was a great bit of fun they have. This is why camping at the races is such a great thing. And, man, it went on and on. So maybe if you've been there, maybe you tell me whether you'd rather camp on the infield. Was there one more screenshot had, Spencer? Somebody explained why they should be camping on the outfield because it was more speed-based and stuff like that. So I think here it is. So there were a couple things. Theory, black box theory, scandal. Started in 1919, which is obviously a joke. Not the story I heard. It really has to do with cornering speeds. You always go fast on the outside of the turn. That's why most of the racers camp on the outfield. And then there's exceptions to that rule, though. And then someone replied, well, the pits and the paddock and all the technology is in the infield. And it went back and forth. So it's always nice when we can kind of lob, water balloons at the neighbors and start a fight. Not even our track, not even our battle, but we can have some fun about it. I was an infielder when we were there, inside turn 3, but maybe the wild side is outside. So let me know where you camp if you camp at CTMP. All right, racing is under attack. We talk about this quite a bit. Here in Ontario, we have a lot of tracks fighting laws, fighting curfews. We hear it often, a lot of time too, that tracks have to be done by a certain hour. So this was something I saw in Arkansas. So if you live in Arkansas, racing is really under attack there. This I don't know if it's a podcaster, but someone posted a video talking about what they're going through if you want to have a racetrack in Arkansas. And this is something we really need to try and make sure it doesn't happen around here. I don't know how we would do it, but roll the video, Spencer. It's just crazy what they go through to keep a track alive in Arkansas.
Arkansas is trying to end racing. Let me give you the quick rundown of the bill that they're trying to pass right now in their House. So HB 1564 is the bill in Arkansas. If you want to look it up, the gist of it is, stricter permits. So new racing facilities built after August 31st, 2021 will be subject to stricter permitting in rural areas. Racing facilities cannot exceed 75 decibels at their property line. The community gets a say in whether a new track is approved. There'll be public hearings, noise limitations, stricter permits, operating hours, no racing between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Annual renewals, this is a big one. Every single year they will have to go up for annual renewal of their racing permit for these facilities. So that could be, rejected or approved on a year-by-year basis. Fines and lawsuits, violations up to $1,000 per day. And the nearby residents can sue for loss of property value. This is all done because of environmental concerns. They're worried about the noise, the pollution, and the traffic congestion. And so some of the stuff, 75 decibels is basically as loud as I'm talking right now. It's about as loud as a vacuum cleaner. And that's at the property line from these race cars, from the racetracks. So another weird thing is if the pre-existing, pre-2021 do any material changes, additions, or improvements, they are subject to these new rules. So if they want to change anything on their facility, they are subject to all of these new laws and regulations. So old ones really aren't grandfathered in because if they want to redo the surface, anything that pulls a permit, anything that changes the things of the track, they're going to be subject to this. So like I said, Arkansas, they're trying to end new stuff. They're trying to end the old stuff. It's going to be a mess. And they chose not to vote on this today, but they'll be voting on it very soon. So talk to your representatives.
Wow, that's some crazy stuff. You know, when you start giving the neighbors, you know, the ability to deny you that yearly, that's a major, like, who's ever going to get invested in that, for one? As he said, 75 decibels is nothing. It's like, even if you race electric cars, the squealing of the tires can be over 75 decibels. So it's basically insane. And then the fact that even the grandfather track, so that can easily happen here, you know. And I know, Spencer, I promised you I wouldn't get political, but, you know, in lots of parts of the world, let's say, they're trying to push for electric-only cars. And that means what we do is under attack. And so just, like he said, talk to your representatives, find out what side they're on, because it's important for the sport for sure. I also think, you know, and the fact that neighbors can sue for property losses or losses to their property value, that's crazy. I'm going to put my tin hat on right now. Whether you believe in cloud seeding and all that other stuff that's been going on, I mean, Florida just put out a bill this week that said they would have to notify before they're doing any of the, you know, cloud seeding and man, so they're whether you believe it or not, Florida feels they're making rain with jet planes. And could racetracks sue because you made it rain on our major event? Now you chemtrailed the clouds, and now we got rain for 2 days, and we lost $100,000 at our big race. Some wild out thinking there, if you want to get into it. I'm not going to go that far today, but things that make you say, let's have some more fun. Where are we going to go from here? Well, we got picture drop, Burger Barn videos of the week. Spencer, you choose. Throw up a picture or video, and I'll roll with the punches. How about that? Okay. Picture drop it is. This was a cool picture. Ken Graham shared it on one of the Facebook pages. Say, that's a cool old, man, TQ midget looking. But that is a trailer built by the legendary Don Biederman on the side there. It says Beater built. What a great looking rig that was. Like, just even have that behind your truck today would be classy as all heck. Beautiful, beautiful ride set up there. What else we got? Ed Howe, famous builder, fabricated in the States. This is when late model racing was badass. These Aero Wars along the Gary Ballou era, Junior Hanley, Ed Howe, some wild cars. I'm not a big fan of the green, but that thing just looks like money. Keep it rolling. This is a famous deal. I believe this is Port Royal. This is Kyle Larson's wing. Last week we showed you where they took a pit sign and riveted it to the back of an Xfinity car. If you zoom in, can you zoom in on more of that, Spencer? That is a clipboard. They got a hole punctured in the wing, and on the 2-minute work area, I believe it was, they taped a clipboard over the hole. Yeah, there you go. That's actually a clipboard that they speed taped over the hole that you can show now, Spencer. And I thought it's crazy that the ingenuity of these guys doing a pit stop. Okay, we see the clipboard. Show the wing now with the hole. And they actually gifted it to Dale Jr. So Dale Jr. has it in his thing. Show the sideboard now, Spence, with the hole in it. Yeah, so it punched a hole there. And that would have tore it right apart had they sent him back out. But they just taped the clipboard over it. Larson most likely went on to win the race. And this is Dale Jr.'s post saying he got some new sheet metal today. All right, let's flip the page. Ohio one day. March. It started snowing on the Outlaws. Look at that. That's a wild deal. And they didn't even, they're still trying to fight to get that show. Not sure whether they did or not. Just a cool picture. What else? GoPros. Zoom in on this, Spencer. So these are refabricated GoPros. You wonder how you keep your GoPros on your sprint car? Those are all redone, special harnesses, but they all got the pipe clamps on there. That's a genius way to make sure you don't use your GoPros, because the plastic stuff it comes with, well, it doesn't really handle sprint car crashes very much. Got any more, Spence? I'm not sure what we all sent through. SOS. Big kudos to them. Love this. Getting back to the top 15 poster and the 2025 schedule. SOS, Southern Ontario Sprints, plans to get these out. 200 per race at the race across Ontario. I think it's a great promo, and thumbs up to the SOS for bringing this back. It's super cool. And of course, our boy Greg put that together for them. What else we got? SOS boys. How about a congratulations to Ryan Turner winning down at Cherokee Speedway. Gaffney, I believe it's North Carolina, South Carolina on the weekend. Congrats to Ryan getting it done. He was on this show a couple weeks ago, said their main goal for this year was to get a win on U.S. soil. Congrats, Ryan, on picking that up with the team. They'll be racing down in Tennessee again this weekend and making it back for our promo video shoots, which kick off at GSR Saturday. We'll be in production mode, full weekend, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Any more pictures, Spencer? Oh, this is cool. We've seen this on the pavement side a few times, and this is know your zone. So if you're a new racer, zone 1, meaning if your car's up, your nose is up in the zone 1 of the driver beside you, heads up, everybody's equal. If you find your nose in zone 2, well, the inside car has position, the outside car has to give a lane, and if you're back in zone 3, the lead car has a position, the inside car has to back off. So obviously, if you're racing sprint cars, you should know that, but just it's cool when we see the visualizations of it. What else we got, Spencer? Yeah, let's show the flooded track. We talked about racing under attack. This is a track that recently closed. They actually, they're not racing anymore, and I can't remember the name. But wow, you can see the floodplain it's on. It flooded out a few times in the last 5 years, and they finally just said enough's enough. We can't do it anymore, but man, just look at the water beside it. That looks like a recipe for disaster. Looks like it could have been a cool spot at one time, but whew, I don't know how you even deal with something like that. That's epic proportions. All right, Burger Barn videos of the week. Remember, Petrol Plus is still open for all your fuel needs. Just re-upped as the official fuel supplier of G-Force TV and all things here on the channel. We appreciate Jay and his staff for what they do. Let's jump into some Burger Barn videos of the week. This is just cool. Technology these days, how they can compare these. I thought this was amazing, how they're laying these cars over top of each other. And it's just so awesome how technology and television coverage has come that they're able to do that. Show it from the start again, Spencer, how they're equal. It's so cool. It's amazing. All right, thank you. What else we got? I don't know where this is. I don't know how they train monkeys to race, but I lied. Adam isn't in Vegas. He's over in Taiwan calling monkey bike races. It's just, the jokes write themselves on the show sometimes. What else? Okay. So Junior Johnson nearly flips, gets out of the car in his t-shirt. Cars are not slowing down. He pops the hood because the car's on fire and the cars are still racing by. Takes his shirt off on the track and puts the fire on the carburetor. Now if that
need a
don't...
new car and a new shirt. This North Carolina
That's
boy
awesome.
is going home early this afternoon.
Wow. Lost the shirt off his back. Back when those guys were really nuts. Keep him rolling, Spence.
The pass, Sargent up and over.
Oh!
Big time, right down to turn 1. Sargent caught the inside.
I believe it's at Albany, Saratoga. Play that once more in slow-mo if you can, Spence. Yeah, it took a wild tumble. Hit that inside rail. Oh, that... He got lucky that another car wasn't underneath him. And they walked away, of course, or we wouldn't be showing it, but wow. I heard Sargent's not racing anymore, has moved on according to the comments from the video, but still interesting. What else we got, Spence? Two more to go.
Verstappen toca! Verstappen tá fora! Batida forte de Hamilton e Verstappen! Batida forte de Hamilton!
Okay, they get together and his helmet comes off. I watched this about 4 times. Play it a couple times, Spence, and we'll see what we see here. They get together, but when his helmet goes bouncing down the track, blows the bodywork off, then he gets together, high sides it. Watch. Oh! And then the helmet gets flung off. That is insane. Go-karts are wild. I got to tell you, and we talked about this before, one night, Humberstone, when I'm a young announcer, we're in the tower, and a car hits head-on to the wall in front of us, does a barrel roll, and the helmet flies out the window. And this is on like a pure stock, not a very well-built car. And that's the punchline, Spencer. We're sitting in the tower, the guy slumped over in the car, and we don't know if that's his head in the helmet. No, thankfully it wasn't. But, man, more than twice in my career now, I've been like, is that a guy's head? Did his head just pop off? All right, one more Burger Barn video of the week.
Shepard was the pole sitter, but here is the real pole sitter. This guy has somehow managed to get up this very high pole and is perched atop some loudspeakers here on the main straightaway.
Yeah, he's close to the main straightaway there, too.
I hope he does.
I know a few guys. That's like a Link Harrison thing. Link would be up there on top of that pole. We made it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on a Tuesday. Thanks for putting up with me and my solo-ness tonight. Adam will be back to cause chaos next Tuesday. But we felt it was important to keep the show rolling. We appreciate everybody being with us. I want to thank my guests here tonight, Ryan Beagle, Glenn Styers, and Joe Skotnicki, for all their help, for stopping by. I want to thank all your participation. It's great to have everybody with us. It won't be long, as Glenn said, only a couple weeks till we're at it. Merrittville kicks off their practices this weekend. Cars will be on track very soon. So we appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and we will see you all at the races soon again.